Hey, my name is Ray, and welcome to God Talk. This is the second episode in our teaching series, Seeking First the Kingdom of Heaven. And this one is called Concepts of the King. For the next few episodes, we're going to focus on seeking the King, the God of the Hebrew Bible. See you in less than 2 seconds. The Apostle Paul was one of the most knowledgeable and influential writers of the New Testament. Much of what we know about God comes from his extensive writings to the early churches. Yet even he, with all his wisdom, had to admit God was far beyond his understanding or comprehension. A few years ago, I wrote a melody and put music to his words in Romans 11:33. Now, most of my musical equipment is in a pod waiting to be shipped back to Ontario from Vancouver. So I found a piano track on my hard drive, and with the help of my wife Mary Jo and my brother-in-law and friend Mac Davenport, we put together sort of a choral acoustic arrangement to Paul's doxology. Here, in my opinion, is one of the world's greatest theological scholars throwing his hands up in the air in wonder when trying to comprehend the great I Am, the Ancient of Days.
How deep the riches, wisdom and knowledge of God. How unsearchable his judgments. How deep the riches, wisdom and knowledge of God. How mysterious his ways. For who knows the mind of the Lord? Who is his counselor? Who has given to him that he might be repaid? From him and through him are all things. To him be glory forever. Amen. Amen. How deep the riches, wisdom and knowledge of God. How unsearchable his judgments. How deep the riches, wisdom and knowledge of God. How mysterious his ways. For who knows the mind of the Lord? Who is his counselor? Who has given to him that he might be repaid? From him and through him are all things. To him be glory
As I said, for the next 3 or 4 episodes, we're going to focus on seeking the King, the God of the Hebrew Bible. I say Hebrew Bible because both the Old Testament and New Testament are Jewish texts, and both of them give us quite an in-depth picture of who God really is. Remember, if he is real, He is going to be who he is and not who you or I or anyone else wants him to be. If we arbitrarily conjure up a God we want without a shred of evidence, then he becomes no more than a genie in a bottle. In doing so, we elevate ourselves to the position of supreme being. Instead of worshiping and submitting our will under someone or something of great power and authority, we're demanding our God to submit under our power and authority. You know, I once had a conversation with a young woman on what she believed. She said she used to be a Christian, but over the years she'd come to give credit to some of the beliefs of other religions. When I asked her to clarify herself, she said, I like how in Christianity we're all supposed to love and forgive each other, but I also like the idea of karma in some of the Eastern religions, that if you don't quite get it right, you can come back again and again until you do. And I like how in Islam God judges your good deeds, and if you have more good deeds than bad deeds, well, you go to heaven. I said, well, what happens if you have more bad deeds than good deeds? She said, well, you can come back and try again. I asked her a question. Do you have a boyfriend? She said, well, yeah, sort of. I said to her, if this person were to say to you, you know, I really don't like the way you dress. I think you should dress like my last girlfriend, a little more revealing. And your hair is too short. You should grow it out and dye it because I like blonde hair. And you really need to change the way you wear your makeup. I saw a girl in a magazine once who wore this dark red lipstick and heavy eyeliner. Oh, she looked so good. I asked her, what would you say to him? She said, I can't repeat what she said to me, but then I asked her, are you not doing the same to God? Are you not making your own conditional parameters by saying, if I'm going to believe in you, you need to be this way or that? Or if I'm going to follow you, you need to follow me? Don't you see you've made yourself God? You still want to live by your own moral compass, and you want a deity to keep you safe, grant your requests, help you get that dream job, afford that new car, and cover his eyes when you do some things that are not really all that nice. And at the end of your life, if you've totally blown it, to grant you another kick of the can to do it all over again. Hey, don't get me wrong. I believe positive or negative thoughts can have extreme effects on our daily lives, just as well as the people we hang around with, the music we listen to, the movies we watch, and the articles we read. Just like food for our physical bodies, what we subject our minds to will have a positive or negative impact on our thinking and our lives. This is simply the law of cause and effect. And the extreme of this can either produce wonderful experiences or catastrophic consequences. But to actually say that we can conjure up a God to fit into the parameters of our own mind and creativity and yet still be able to call him God, well, to me, that's really stretching it. No, if he's real, he's going to be who he is, not who you or I or anyone else wants him to be. The Bible points out many of his attributes. And what are attributes? They're qualities that describe his nature. I thought before we get into talking about his attributes, I need to first set the stage by pointing out that he is quite beyond our comprehension. In relation to a supreme being, I don't think we can deny that when we look at the world around us, there are a lot of things about the concept of an all-powerful God that we have difficulty understanding. It may very well be the reason many people refuse to believe in God in the first place. If God is all loving and all powerful, how could he allow this or put up with that? As believers, some of the evil things that happen to good people have even us shaken our heads. But you know what? We're not alone. Some of the writers of the Bible felt exactly the same way. Let me read you a few of their complaints. Psalm 88 from verse 13, sons of Korah. But I cry out to you for help, Lord. In the morning my prayer comes before you. Why, Lord, do you reject me and hide your face from me? Psalm 73, 11-14, a psalm by Asaph, and I love the version in the Message. He says, what's going on here? Is God out to lunch? Nobody's tending the store. The wicked get by with everything. They have it made, piling up riches. I've been stupid to play by the rules. What has it gotten me? A long run of bad luck, that's what. a slap in the face every time I walk out the door. And then there's Moses. Chapter 5:22 of Exodus. Moses says, "And Moses returned to the Lord and said, 'Why, Lord, have you brought trouble on this people? Is this why you've sent me? Ever since I went to Pharaoh to speak in your name, he has brought trouble on this people, and you have not rescued your people at all.'" And then there's Habakkuk, verse 1-3. "O Lord, how long shall I cry, and you will not hear me? Even cry out to you violence, and you will not save. Why do you show me iniquity and cause me to see trouble? For plundering and violence are before me. There is strife and contention arises. Therefore the law is powerless, and justice never goes forth. For the wicked surround the righteous. Therefore perverse judgment proceeds." You see, they, like us, sometimes just didn't get it. You think if God is all-powerful, why doesn't he just fix everything? Well, he did, and he does, and he will. But the answer we're all looking for may not fit into our tiny brains. We may not understand right now what he is doing, even if he told us face to face. That is precisely the response God gave to Habakkuk in verse 5. "Look among the nations," he says, "and watch. Be utterly astounded, for I will work a work in your days which you would not believe, though it were told to you." In other words, how can I tell you what I'm going to do? You're not even going to understand it, even if I tried to explain it to you. And then in Psalm 50, verse 21, God himself says, "So you thought I was altogether like you." When we perceive God, unless the Spirit reveals him to us, we cannot help but bring into the mix our own influences. For example, if one of our parents was abusive or quick to always punish us for doing the slightest thing wrong, we may picture a Heavenly Father to be exactly the same way, an unreasonably hard person who is ready to criticize and punish at the drop of a hat. Or because we're tolerant of something, we may think God should also be tolerant of the same things. Both views, among others, that are influenced by our own life experiences are wrong. The truth is, he is not like us. We are created in his image, not the other way around. And because of our choice to walk away from him, that image gets distorted pretty fast. Next week, we'll get into going through his attributes or his nature, but before we can do that, we need to get our head around this one fact that he is not like us. God says in the Bible, "Your thoughts are not my thoughts, and your ways are not my ways." Let's look at a tiny but relevant example. If you had to make a crucial decision within the next 5+ days, what factors would you use in making that decision? Maybe you were thinking about buying a new car or a new house, or asking someone to marry you, or maybe you're the person who's been proposed to in marriage and you're considering your answer. To make the best decision, you would first turn to the factor of time. What history tells you. How long have you been at your job? What experiences have you gone through that would help you to make that decision? How long have you known this person, and what have you noticed so far about them? And what does the present look like? At the moment, are you financially stable? How is your relationship with this person? Is it healthy? Or do you feel something just ain't right? And then, of course, although you couldn't predict the future, you would attempt from the information you'd gathered from the past and the present to certainly anticipate it. Would you not? Do I think I'll still have my job a year or two from now? Does the house I want to buy, does it show any signs of repair in the near future? Do I think we can be compatible together a few years from now? Your estimation of the future would be absolutely critical in making your final decision. Well, what if you could see years ahead? And I don't mean arbitrarily, but actually could see the future as if it already had passed. You saw yourself losing your job, or you saw the house you're going to buy fall into a sinkhole. Maybe the person of your dreams turned out to be the devil in disguise. Would it change your immediate decision? You bet it would. And the choice you would make, knowing you're the only one who could see the absolute future, may not make sense to those around you. In fact, look at this COVID-19 virus. How many of us would have prepared better or made different decisions if we could have just been able to see 30 days into the future? What about someone who has complete authority over time? Who in fact created it? Who can zip through past, present, and future as easily as any one of us zipping through our CD collection? Surely many of the decisions he makes, we would not understand. Also, the decisions we make are usually narcissistic. They're mostly based with a, how will this affect me and my family kind of attitude. We have no idea just how connected we are with each other around the globe, including nature. But God knows. He knows how connected we are with each other and with our surroundings, past, present, and future. It's unavoidable. God's decision to send rain may ruin a bride's most memorable day, but give life-giving water to animals and the earth. Everything is connected. We have no idea of the catastrophic consequences a simple little practical joke might play. And by the same token, how the smallest gesture of kindness may produce life-saving circumstances. But God sees all. He sees all. You know, I remember listening to a lecture given by Bible scholar and author Os Guinness. And I can't remember it well enough to quote him word for word, so I will paraphrase it. He said, if God had a conversation with us before we came into this world, it might go something like this. There is a war on earth, and it's a war against evil. I'm going to win by wiping it out, and I'm going to bring all of you safely home to be with me forever, if you so desire to be with me. However, I want you to know, there will be times that you will feel me right there fighting by your side. And then there will be times you'll feel as if I abandoned you and left you to fight alone. There may even be situations where it looks like I've jumped sides and I'm working with the enemy against you. But rest assured, I have not, and I will never leave or forsake you. The decisions I make, you will not always understand, especially now. But one day you will. For now, trust me that I have the best interests of my children at heart. You know, maybe you're going through some stuff right now where you're finding it difficult to trust Him. We are all going through the experience of this horrible virus, and the media, in an effort to keep us updated, in most cases, is just spreading fear and anxiety. This is one of those times many of us are saying, God, where are you? Like the psalmist of Psalm 73, hey, who's minding the store here? But no matter what it looks like, remember this, God is omnipotent. Omni meaning all, potent meaning powerful, all-powerful. And that is one of His first attributes. He is all-powerful, He is in control, and He has the best interest of His children at heart. We have a choice. We can go through times of trial with fear and anxiety, or we can trust Him and know that although things may not end up the way we desire things in this world, He has not forgotten us. And we are in His mighty hands. And I can tell you this, there's no better place to be. I choose to trust the King, and I hope you do too. Join me next week on Seeking the King, Part 2. Episode 3 of our 10-week series, Seeking the Kingdom of God.